says I'm live. Hello. Hello, hello. Hi, Amy. Hey, Tim. So SOR is still on. Welcome to Restore Belief if you are new. I don't even know where to even start. It's been 7 months since one. I'm living in a new environment and have a new situation here, so I'm trying to get used to things. I said 12:15. I was a minute off, but I did okay. Amy, do you have any questions for me? I know there's a bit of a delay. That's fine. Transfer to international. So, anyway, welcome to Restore. When is breakfast? Don't know. Since it's 12 now, 17 at my time Pacific. So breakfast for me is probably going to be 6 p.m. tomorrow night, or technically tonight. Anyhow, I have a plan for tonight as to what I wanted to talk about. There's a number of factors. Oh, thank you. Yeah, my son got it for me. He was the, and let's see if I can actually do this. There we go. It's a nebula, but I don't remember which one. Anyway, so tonight there were a number of subjects that I wanted to talk about. One of them is ETs. Another one is the paranormal. And then there's a couple of others that are a little going to be touchy subjects. So we may get into some of that. I would like to talk about it, but so I figure 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2.5 hours max. I need to be making sure that okay. I'm gonna have to mute. I've got Dave going on on my TV, and that's why the headphones are still on. So at first I would have had to mute him, but anyway, he had a great show on tonight. I just absolutely loved it. Great guest, really, really good guest. Anyway, if you don't know Spaced Out Radio, go check out Spaced Out Radio and Dave Scott and all of his crew. They've got a really good crew. Anyway, so go give a listen to Dave's shows Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific to midnight Pacific time. Anyway, in a real launch. Are you? Did I miss something, Amy? Okay, let me know when. Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. Anyway, so give Dave a listen at Spaced Out Radio. Good show. I enjoy it. I know a few people who are not enthusiastic, and everybody's different, but give them a listen. Anyhow, that said, so because I've moved, I've had less ET activity, which has been nice on some degree. Okay, so I guess I just got told that I'm going to be having new people watch this. If you don't know, okay, first of all, my name is Nikki Jacobs. I'm based out of Seattle, Washington, USA. I'm a psychic medium and an ET abductee. I am 56 years old and have been ET abducted since the age of 4. ET and military abducted since approximately the age of 7, 8 years old. So that's something that I've never actually come out with an age for that. And that's only because I'm just now starting to have flashbacks, which are oh so fun, of what they used to do to me, and it was pretty freaking horrific. So, uh, yeah, that's been really interesting. Anyway, so regarding ETs, uh, and because I'm a psychic medium, I was going to say regarding ETs, but regarding being a psychic medium, I've had a lot of um, paranormal experiences, hierarchy experiences, Sasquatch. I've had some Sasquatch experiences. My other place I used to live, the Sasquatches used to come and check on me, and they would walk through a energetically open a portal and energetically walk through into my home and observe me. And that got very interesting. And quite honestly, I don't care if you believe me or do believe me. These are my experiences that I'm talking about. So welcome to the channel. Welcome to my show. It's really the first time I've called it a show. Typically, I call it a live broadcast because, hello, that's what I do. And typically, I do mine after Dave's show, but it's been 7 months since I have been on. There've been a great deal of things going on, and I needed to take some time away to deal with that. I also, because I was talking about information that the government didn't want me talking about, I got nailed. So I became a targeted individual, and they literally, using energy weapons, took out my electronics, a number of electronics, and did some physical harm to me. And in doing so, I've had some rather significant health problems because of it. And it can definitely be correlated. And the very first time it took place was in August of 2023. And it is viewable. It happened while I was doing a live show. So that is viewable in the uh, go back into my channel. I can't think. Go back into my channel and you should be able to find it. In August. I don't remember if it was the beginning, middle, or end. I think it was the beginning. But during one of my live broadcasts, and I talk about it, it's time-stamped. I made sure that everything was time-stamped. So on, I think all but 2 of my live broadcasts, I've time-stamped everything. I haven't had the time to get back to the other 2, and I think I got halfway through. Anyway, again, welcome to the channel. I have returned. I will be doing this once a week, and hopefully I will start to be able to do this twice a week with 1 or 2 hour shows. I haven't exactly decided how that's going to work. There's going to be a lot going on this summer all the way to the beginning of next year for me. So we'll see how this all works out, if I maintain or even do 2 times a week. I'm still on the S4 bunker, which is on Spreaker, and then it is transferred from Spreaker over to YouTube. All the shows, when I finally got back online and checked email and was able to deal with the business side of Restore Belief with Nikki. One of the first few things that I did was go in and update the file folder that says shows that I have been on. So if you look for that file folder on my channel, you will see and have the link to all the shows from the S4 bunker. And sorry, I have a light that's muted, and the device that just came off of it. So the light's going to be flashing a little bit here and there because I've got a lot of fans going on. It's still about 74 degrees at almost 12:30 at night. So anyway, hey Para, good to see you, sweetie. So that's what is expected to take place. And if you want to listen to those shows, the S4 bunker was also called the S4 radio, and also part of Forest Moon Paranormal back in the day. So all of that is in a file folder that literally says shows I or Nikki has been on. Scroll to the bottom and you will find the most current show. So that all said, it's all there. Different things I've talked about with different groups, different shows I've been on since 2018. Not all the shows. I was on. I lost the name. It went right out of my head. I can picture the mug. I've got the mug in my kitchen. I just can't think of the name of it. Anyway, UFOI. I was on the UFOI team, and those shows are all on Facebook under somebody's very public name. But you can look on Facebook under UFOI team, and you can see all the live broadcasts that were discussed. Been a long, long time since I've even talked about that group. And because of that group, there's a lot of people that I came in contact with and that know me, and that I've worked with, and so and then there's a lot of folks that I've worked with outside of that team, and it's kind of how I ended up here. In 2018, I started getting, end of 2018, I started getting told I need to do, hey folks, come on in, sit and chat if you can. But in 2018, I got told to start doing shows, start doing a podcast on YouTube, and I couldn't quite bring myself to do it yet. Hey, Sandra, I'm glad to see you here. So that is how all of this came about. So those who are new, that gives you about a 10 to 13 minute synopsis of how I came to be doing YouTube. So thank you for the hearts. Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's a huge deal to me. Thank you very much. Very heartfelt. No pun intended. Anyhow, if you have questions, feel free to ask. I know Sandra had some great questions, and I hadn't gone over some of that in a long time, so it was really good to kind of revisit some stuff. Anyhow, come on in, grab a cuppa of popcorn, and just don't do the microwave stuff. Anyway, I've learned an awful lot about that stuff. Thankfully, I don't do that. But anyway, grab a cuppa, something, and let's have a chat. So about the ETs, I have been taken by a great, well, I know 7 different races of ET. I do not know what their race is called. That is the kind of thing you want to talk to our Keith Andrews for. And I highly recommend his show. So that's our Keith Andrews. Tonight is a night where I'm not going to put links in, mostly because I don't have it in me right now. Hey, Polly, come on in. I'm really glad to see you here. Yes, hey, Robert. Yeah, our Keith Andrews, thank you. Amy and Robert can put links in if you're wanting to. If not, that's fine too. I'm just not doing it tonight. Tonight is not so much really about business side of things. It's more about welcoming everybody back, saying hello to everyone. Excuse me. Saying hello to everybody and kind of trying to get back into the swing of things since it has been 7 months since I've done this. And Dave is apparently no longer alive. Okay. So, anyhow, there's, like I said, the number of things that I wanted to talk about regarding the ETs. One of them being I've had a son who's been in contact with hybrid. I should say that. I should clarify that. I've had a hybrid son who's been in contact with me. Oh my gosh, all the hearts. Wow. Thank you so very, very much. Don't forget your question. Oh my God, I did. I'm so sorry. Here's a good question. This is from Amy. Why don't the ETs have 0G on their ships? You know, that one is honestly that's an excellent question. I'm not the science person for that, unfortunately, to give a proper answer. The way I understand it is going to be very different in comparison to how somebody like our Keith understands it. He is more, to me, the science guy. I know he doesn't call himself the science guy, but to me, he's very much the science guy because when we had a lifetime together where I knew him as a science person. So, and to me, he still represents that. So, there's a lot of things that he can describe better than I can. I don't know the technicalities of it, Amy, but what I can tell you is that when I've been on board numerous ships or even planets, and don't ask me what planets because I honestly do not know. I just know that they were planets. For that matter, it could have easily have been Mars. I don't know. I mean, that's one of the planets that one of my hybrid sons has told me that they take the hybrids to for school. Excuse me. So anyway, to all 10 of you, come on in, grab a cuppa, whatever. Hey, MiLab, good to see you here. Second star to the right and straight on till morning. Gee, can't imagine where that came from. If you know children's movies, that is a great one from. God, all I can think of is Robin Williams in it. Now I'm just, hey, Bomber. Oh, good. Got you some freezies. Awesome. Good to see you, sweetie. Anyway, so the only thing that look, thank you, Para. It's driving me nuts. Could not think of the name of the movie. I could Peter Pan. Thank you. I can picture him. I could not think of the name. Anyway, so we've got 12 in chat. Thank you everybody for coming and revisiting me. I appreciate it. And I'm kind of hoping my voice holds out for tonight. Anyhow, so In answer to your question, Amy, I would refer that back to our Keith Andrews because he would have the science aspect of it more than I would. But what I do know is that there is some kind of stability mechanism that they use, and that's how we keep our feet on the ground. That's all I know, unfortunately. Now, I had somebody recognize me. I'm trying to be very, very careful. Hey, Tim. Wow, thank you. Oh, Joan. Joanne or Joan? No, Joanne. Anyway, welcome. Thank you so much for coming in. You're a newbie to me. Thank you for coming in. And thank you, Tim, for putting my link where you did. I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for the hearts and the flowers. I love it. Thank you. Very, very appreciated. Very heartfelt. Very heartfelt. Heart over here. Very heartfelt. Very appreciated. Anyway, so the floating, have fun. Yeah. I have no idea how they truly do it. I just know it's some kind of stability mechanism, and it keeps us all on the ground, on the platforms, on the. Now, here's something though, Amy. On certain military or militaristic, I don't know if they're ET ships. I need to clarify this. I do not consciously know. I know that I subconsciously know, but I haven't been able to pull it up yet. A tape, a pair of tape. Stability mechanism equals tape. That's awesome. I like that. Anyway, I do know that we have been on the combined U.S. military, and I know it's U.S. military, and ain't nobody gonna tell me otherwise because of what I have witnessed. I have seen U.S. military men and women, so don't come at me and tell me I'm full of shit. I have witnessed it. I'm tired of people telling me I am full of shit when it comes to this. I'm like, no, I have witnessed it, and I will scream it to the top of the freaking government if I have to. Anyway, I've seen U.S. military men and women in military uniform, full out military uniform, with ETs standing next to each other and also walking down hallways. I've also been on, in answer to Amy's question, I've also been on, they called them lifts, LIFTS. And they're a form of an elevator without walls. Very freaking dangerous. And you stand on it and it raises straight up. And I am here to tell you, I got told, me and another human got told by an 8-foot reptilian type ET standing not yay far from me, 6 inches, to do not, whatever we did, we were never to put our hands in front of us because our arms would be ripped off. Do not take a step forward. Stabilize yourself on the platform as you're going up. And I am here to tell you, those platforms got some serious speed to it. So when they go up, you go up fast, really freaking fast. And then when you get to the level that it's supposed to be, it starts slowing down. And it's like your stomach is up at your chest, and when it starts slowing down, your stomach is like at the pit of your stomach, so to speak. So it gets very crazy. I don't know how else to say it. It gets very crazy that way. So yeah, it just becomes interesting that way. But that's what I think when somebody asks me a question like that, I mean, that's the response I give, because, and then I immediately think of those lips. And I don't get that question very often, but I have had it. I've had something similar to it before. So I wanted to explain that. Anybody? No food. So anyhow, so and I have been on planets before. I just don't know which ones. I can only make an assumption that it was Mars, because Mars has definitely. Oh, thank you, Bomber. Um, okay, I'm going to do this again. And here we go. There's the tapestry. I had to put duct tape on it to figure out which way was up. Or not duct tape, blue painter's tape. So there's blue painter's tape at the top. But anyways, so that's the. I might have to do this again a couple of times during the night. But Mars does have an underground base on it. And the only reason why I am consciously aware of that is because one of my hybrid sons, um, he was very unhappy there. It's one of the hybrid schools. They have some kind of very, very large, multi-complex underground base. And he said it is extremely cold there underground. And he was having problems staying warm, and he was emotional and crying, which is not normal for an ET hybrid. But they did this splicing and dicing, and the only reason why the ETs even allowed me contact with him was because they put the splicing and dicing of human emotions back in, starting to be put back into their hybrids. So that's why he was allowed contact with me to help me as a mother calm him down. And I find that fascinating, because it's the first I've ever heard anything like that. And of course, I'm going to talk about it because, hello, it's kind of a big deal. Now I've been told I'm full of shit on that too. Well, so what? If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. Um, and these are like I said, these are my experiences. I am going to talk about this. I am going to state what has happened. So, love you, love. Mars has definitely come into transition this season. Well, Mars is. This was 2 years ago. Oh God, Robert would remember that more than I do right now, because he is one of the ones that helped me through with that specific pregnancy, that specific ET infant, and all the different things that went with it. So, um, let me see if I can catch up. Let's see. Choose not to battle unless it involves someone. It is. Oh yeah. I will step through. Uh, oh, okay. So they're talking about a bunch of different things. Okay. You are just straightforward, and what they call me can also be applied to you. I felt you didn't like me because of our mutual friend. No, you and I had issues earlier. I do happen to like you, but you and I had issues earlier, and I think we worked through that. So whatever, it's long past. Hey, Laura, come on in, enjoy. If you got questions for me, put them in the chat, and I will try to answer them as best as I possibly can. Hey, Simon. Okay, now my phone is acting. Okay, there we go. Simon the Likeable. Nikki, I asked our Keith the same thing, but why no consent from ET? There's plenty of CE5 types who may volunteer. Thanks. Consent from ET for what, sweetie? Well, I've been using that term a lot lately. Sweetie, hun, and darling. And I'm like, wow, okay. Oh, abductions. I know consent from ET. Okay, so Simon, I'll get to that question in just the short answer to that is yes, Sandra. So with ETs, depending upon which race of ET it is, most abductees will have some kind of soul contract. Not all will have a soul contract, but many will. And a soul contract means that that has happened before that soul has come into this physical body in this lifetime. Does that let me know for sure that that makes sense to you, Simon? Because when that makes sense to you, then we can move forward with the next part of this. So, and then if you're being taken by ETs who are working with military, there is no frickin' soul contract. Not whatsoever. They will use you for whatever they frickin' please. And in a lot of ways, it's so, okay, you understand. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me know that. Because I've actually made a similar statement to a couple of different people, and they were like, huh? And complete newbies to the community, and that I get it. So that's why I wanted to be sure that it made sense. And so basically, the military that work with the U.S. military that work with certain races of ET, they things are very convoluted with them, and they start with children. And hopefully, I don't bawl over this because this really upsets me. I had flashbacks. Somebody made a comment, wasn't directed at me, but somebody made a comment when I was around them. And the comment was innocuous, okay? Should not have triggered me, but it did. It triggered my memories. And it triggered my memories of being 8 years old and being completely defiant and having a man in human U.S. military uniform cattle prod me with a effing cattle prod electricity. And I was 8 years old because I would not comply. So that said, when they do that, they try to break you in different ways, and they try to break your spirit, or they try to break your psyche. And it didn't break my psyche. It just pissed me off even more and made me more defiant. And so, yeah, I've asked medical personnel I'm not going. Amy, that's an excellent question. That is something that I will not state publicly, at least not yet. I am not ready to make that statement yet. But I have talked to military personnel who recognize and have confirmed the timeline of the military uniforms. Every time I see a military uniform with the ETs, there are certain people that I will go to that are military and will confirm with me as to what what they confirm. They ask me a shit ton of questions, and they confirm to me not only the uniform, but some very specific details of the uniform. And there's no way I could know that if I had not seen it. The uniform with certain, I'm going to call them decals. I don't know what else to call them. Patches, I suppose you would call them. Okay, Simon, I'll finish answering the rest of your question. Come back for the replay. Before with a question about SSP people, I have to get dinner on. Great to see you back live. See you, everyone. Simon, yeah, please come back because I'll have more. And this goes in that the militaristic with the ETs goes into SSP, Super Soldier Program, goes into a wide range of other programs that are not openly talked about. So I am going to be starting to talk about that. I don't know the names of the projects. I have not been allowed to remember the names of the projects. But there's a specific branch of the U.S. government that is doing this kind of, I'm trying to be very careful right this second. Anyway, there's a specific branch of the U.S. government that is not widely known that is doing this kind of thing with a specific race. Actually, a couple of specific races of ET, not just one. So it's very, the whole situation with that situation, the whole, I said that wrong. The whole situation regarding the ETs with the U.S. military, and I know there's other government military with other races of ET or with the same race of ET as this one, that I'm thinking of, but I have seen other. I just don't talk about it. I have seen other forms of ET, or other ETs. I shouldn't say forms because that comes out really diluted, and that's not how I mean it. Anyway, I have seen other races of ET with other U.S. military. So anyway, oh God, I hope I'm not starting to lose the throat again. So yeah, things are very, very convoluted. And when I say I had somebody recognize me, they recognized me because of who and what they are. They're human, but they recognized me because of what I do for, I'm trying to be very careful on how I say this because it really pisses me off. I get very, very angry and enraged by this because the fact that I'm being used and abused by them, I can tell you right now exactly what I want done to them. I'm not going to verbally state that publicly, but I have really choice ones about it, and for damn good effing reason. And especially now that I've had memories of being cattle prodded in my back in specific locations. As a 8-year-old child, to do that to a child, just, and I think that that's why I've been such an advocate for them all my life, and why I have stood up at 8 and 9 years old and defended other students on whether it's been the school playground, whether it's been in school, why I have defended students who are friends of mine or classmates of mine from bullies, because I I think that that's where it comes from, because I was not allowed to be a child. You were trained a very, very specific way. And I think that's probably why I became an advocate for between 18 and 21 years. I semi started quitting at 18 and I fully quit at 21 years. And so it really affects life. I did not fully anticipate talking about this tonight, but that's totally okay. I have no problems in talking about it. All right, so I want to get back to the rest of Simon's question. Let's see. Are they? Oh, no, because I want to get back to Simon's question and then Sandra's question. She had a number of questions, and I want to be sure that I get to everybody and everybody's questions. It's a really big deal to me. Okay, Nikki, I asked our Keith Andrews the same thing about why no consent from ET. There's plenty of CE5 types who volunteer. Thanks. Okay, yeah, there are plenty of CE5. And I'm not going to explain CE5. Go look it up, please. I can never do justification to that description. So look it up. You'll find a better answer than I can give you. That said, so many humans will have soul contracts, and that will take place before you come into the body, into the family that you have chosen. And that gets into a whole nother subject and topic of soul contracts. It's just, that can get really convoluted as well, but it's also a beautiful thing in many levels. And I know that I and many members of my family have soul contracts with different ETs. I'm not sure about the races, but some of them I could describe. So that's really the answer to that question, Simon. And there are races who do not do soul contracts. And if you're out and about, for example, tonight publicly, they were talking on SOR, they were talking about, oh my God, now I can't think of her name. Anyway, she had taken a picture. She and her husband were together, I guess, and gotten pictures of a possible UFO or an unusual formation in the sky. And I haven't gone back down to chat and to the bottom of the chat yet, where everybody's currently at. I want to be sure that I get through this, because I want to answer as many questions as I possibly can. So in the CE5 types, when you have a race of ET who doesn't do the soul contracts, and they're flying overhead and they spot somebody, or they feel, it's not so much spotting somebody, it's feeling the energy. And what typically takes place is that when they feel that energy, at least this is my take on, it's based on, my take on this is based on a lot of bits and pieces that I know that I've put together, a lot of different experiences, a lot of things I've witnessed, and I've just kind of went, oh, wow, okay, so that makes more sense to me as to why this person is having this experience. Well, it's a specific race of ET, and the specific race of ET, they're curious about you just as well as you're curious about them. And so they'll allow that person with the right kind of energy to be seen. Each person has either a lightness or a darkness about them, your soul. And the lighter, the brighter your soul is, you're most likely going to have an experience regarding ET or UFOs or some other paranormal. And that's kind of how all of that goes into that answer for Simon. Now, moving on, I'm going to go to Sandra. Do you still see military? Yeah, I do. What ET was with them? Some type of reptilian. The last one I saw, I was different than the one that I've described, but it's also some type of, I call it a reptilian. I don't know what else to call it because the skin reminds me of leather. The legs are a bit different. They're like the ones that I describe on the lift. Those come down. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, so the legs come down. They have a knee, and then it bends backwards. The knee, it's like an upper calf. It has two calves, calves, and then comes down, and then bends back down and comes into a pad or a foot. I don't know what else to call it. Usually 3 or 4 toes, what we would call toes. I don't know what they call it. I've seen that type, and I've seen the type where the legs are very similar to ours, but they stand. They don't stand on a heel. They stand on tiptoes, and I'm like, holy crap! I mean, and they can walk over. I've seen them walk. Oh my god! I've seen them walk over sharp things, like, well, I'm not going to say anything. Very sharp things didn't even begin to affect them. I'm no cut skin, no nothing. I'm like, hey, that would shred a human's foot. If you walk barefoot, that would. And that's a whole other subject. Anyway, so there's that part of the answer. And do you know or see if military does remote view? Yeah. So Sandra, military. I've had astral. I've had military astral asshats in my home, and I've gotten rid of them. And that was one of the second ways that they started pestering the ever-loving shit out of me. It got wicked, really, really wicked. And I called on a friend, and 2 of us, because I wanted to have my back watched, because then they started bringing 2 people in, and I was like, oh, MFer, no, you don't. No, you don't. No. It's one thing to have one of you, it's a different ballgame to have 2 of you in astral. No. And I'm like, you are invading my space. You're screwing with my home. Um, you're not coming here ever again. And I had my friend watch my back, trust her implicitly, and she knows exactly what she's doing. And she's the one that I always refer to when I talk about this specific situation, because she was like, I took care of this individual in astral, in a very specific way. And I said, you are not coming back here. And if you do, I will fully protect myself. And in every way that I know how. And they know what I can do. And it got wicked. That night it got really, really wicked. And she's the one who said, and I make this quote because it's something, I mean, it stuck with me. She goes, damn, she could never let me piss you off. And she's right. It's like, if I'm under attack, nothing stop me. I will protect myself. I will protect my family. I will protect my loved ones. And I make no bones about it. So that's a really, really big deal to me. So yes, I have had them in my home. I've had them remote view me. I've had them in a form of higher consciousness visit me. And there are ways that you can remove them. Don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, you can't remove bull. Yes, you can. And it's very specific, but yes, you can. I took care of this one, and he showed up about 2 to 2.5 weeks later. Think about the timeline. And I was like, I told you, don't you ever, and he was pissed because of what I did. And I'm like, I told you, you're not to be in my home. My home is my sanctuary. You will leave my house. And I walked right up and I walked right through him and I said, you will leave here now, or you will leave my way. And you will not like what I do this time. First time, I was in protection mode, and I did it in a very specific way to protect me and to protect my family. Now, after I told you that last time, don't return, you got the balls to return. Guess what, MFer? And he was gone. I didn't even get to finish what I said. He was gone. And that took care of him, and it took care of his partner. I make no bones about it. You in my home in astral, you in my home in a higher consciousness, that is an invasion of privacy. I don't give two, you are not invited into my home. I don't give two shits. If I invite you, that's a different ballgame. Completely different ballgame. And there are certain people that I will allow into my home environment in astral, in higher consciousness state, because I trust them. And trust for me comes very, very carefully. So, and if that trust ever gets broken, yeah, it's going to be issues. So, so that's an answer to Sandra's question. Now, I'm going to scroll down and try and get caught up. So I hope that answered your question, Sandra. But yeah, there are ways to deal with it. There are numerous ways. Okay. Of service was this one. Yeah, I'm not ready to go there anymore yet. I may be ready at some point. By the way, apparently for me with a question about SSD. Oh, see, I missed that. Um, Para. Okay, so let's see. Let me go back up and see if I can find Para. Where are you, my dear? Um, crap. Okay, I'm not finding it. So, no, I'm not finding it. All right, so let me scroll back down. And almost there, folks. Um, Amy, are they often the same branch, like branch that has more or less exclusive access to ET projects? Oh, that could get me into trouble. It's an excellent question, though. There is the branch of government that does this has many men and women from different branches of government. Does that answer your question enough? Let me know in the comment section if it answers it enough. Um, uh, okay. And apparently my bomber, Nikki, what would make a print, oops, like a hoof? Okay, so this is from this is from Bomber. Nikki, what would make a print like a hoof, but with 3 points instead of 2, and no claws, approximately 4 foot? 4 foot? Only 4 feet? What would make a print like a hoof, but with 3 points instead of 2? Well, it reminds me of a. Oh boy, this is going to be a problem. It reminds me of Goat Man. I don't know if that's what it is, Bomber, but that's what it reminds me of. Um, I have a pic of a foot. Really, Laura? Oh, I'd love to see it sometime, sweetie. Um, those large goats. Oh my God, Tim! I didn't even. Tim just said those large goats. That Bomber, maybe. Goats don't have three-pointed hoof. No, you're right. They don't. They've got two. But if it's been hybridized, and based on what I have witnessed with different races of ET, some of them hybridize. You look at Dogman. I don't know how Dogman was created, but I know it's a hybrid, um, which is kind of wicked when you think about it. I have a tendency to believe the military did that, that the U.S. Military did that, but I don't know that for a fact. I don't even have memory of it, but I suspect it at this point. Um, Sandra, I'm glad you kicked their asses. Thanks for sharing your experiences. Yeah, sweetie, you're more than welcome. Um, yeah, Robert says, and if she can't, others will step in. Yes, they will. I've had some wonderful friends who have backed me up. And I've had some incredible hierarchies that have backed me up and ancient family. I've had, I was going to be careful if I say that one. I've had spirit back me up. I've even had other beings back me up. And what some would consider evil that are not evil, had them back me up. So kind of an interesting thing. Okay, are we still connected? So, okay, where is the Sandra Taylor is the reptile foot pixel one. See what kind of footprint is. And post it yet. It really bad. Yeah, I can understand that. It's from winter. I'll post it now. Para, did the hybrid you spoke with say anything about? Oh, you mean my hybrid son? Did the hybrid you spoke with say anything about SSP or folks jumping there to Mars from Earth using jump rooms as Andrew Basagio and others described? Amy, I'll get to that in just a minute. There's a question about military. So, Para, in answer to that question, no. The hybrid that I spoke with was my son. He went there via ship. I don't know how else to say it. Via ET spaceship. I do know that there are jump rooms. I've been in one. I have what I would call a vague recollection. It's not 100% of a full memory. It's a room where there's a platform. That's all I'm going to say on that, because if I say any more, it could get me in trouble. There are specific things in the room, very specific things. And what the hell is going on with my phone? That's interesting. So I do know that there's a jump room from Earth to the moon. I don't know if there is a jump room that is on. I can't get my words out. It's like somebody's trying to stop me from saying this. I cannot verify. That's how I'm going to say this. I cannot verify that the jump room that is on the moon goes to Mars or goes to any other planet. I can say that there is a jump room on the moon, and I know it goes back and forth between it goes from the moon to Earth and Earth to moon. So I do know that. And the information on the moon is really, how do I describe that? I know I've described it before. The only thing I can come close to describing it as is it reminds me of Star Wars. The thing where Darth Vader was on the sphere thing. I can't remember what that. It's been too long since I've seen that movie. So there's that. So the inside of it goes very, very deep. And what I mean is the surface of the moon to underneath goes very, very deep unless you hit different craters. And certain craters have metallic sound to them because they're like openings. I want to say a portal, that's not the right word, but they open and close, and so of course they're going to sound metallic if they're hit. And honestly, I think that's what took place when You have reports of astronauts or folks hitting the inside of a crater and it sounded metallic or a ringing metallic. Well, that's why. It's because they opened and closed. It's not a real crater, but it's made to look like one. I'm going to move this back. And other things. There we go. And my neck is starting to bother me. So that's more in answer to that question. Amy, in answer to your question, let me get up here a little bit more so I can read this better. Okay, to answer, are we talking not only different military branches, but civilian agencies of the executive branch, not uniformed? That would explain a lot. There are that I'm aware of, but at the same time, to answer that, as I understand it, it's mostly military. And when I say mostly military, I'm going to say this is a guesstimate in percentage. Okay, this is my personal guesstimate. I don't know the actual numbers. Okay, I would say it's probably close, somewhere between 78 to say maybe 92% military, and some form of agency or agencies. I do know that there's corporate involved. And I just got told I got into trouble by saying that. So be it. Death Star. Yeah, thank you, Para. I appreciate that. I've got to go feed my baby. We'll be back in a bit. Okay, Bomber. Thank you for coming in. There we go. Adventures. Oh, hey, Beth. Hey. Okay, you're so fine. You blow my mind. Yeah, I haven't heard that. I have. It's been a long time since I've heard that, dear. I'm glad you're here. I was wondering how you were doing. Toes included. Okay, so Amy, for instance, Department of Energy and CIA and NRO are civilian agencies, although some members may be active duty military on quote unquote on loan to those agencies. Yeah, there are situations like that I am aware of. I've been better, but still breathing. Oh, I know what that's like, my dear. Really know what that's like. Here's to staying safe and still breathing and alive and having a brain. Kid you not. I understand that. Okay, so I've got 48. So I've got about an hour and 10 minutes maybe left. Basiago. Oh, thank you, Para. Laura, 11 light. Right on. Okay, let's see if I can do this without screeching in your guys' ears. Okay, this has got to go back. Hang on one second, guys. There we go. Okay, that's better. No more of that hand right there. It's driving me nuts. So anyhow, what else? So we got through with the questions. There's 12 left in chat. One of the things I didn't do business-wise, please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I do appreciate it. Believe me, I appreciate it very, very much. I'm not monetized. You have to have a whole lot more time on YouTube, and you have to have a whole heck of a lot more people, subscribers, excuse me. That said, please share me out. I do appreciate it. Algorithms are very, very interesting, and it's interesting when they start shifting and changing algorithms. Okay, so anybody else with questions before we move on? Ask away. I still have a voice for now. Because I do have my Restore Belief, my book. This is what I write all my notes in this time for however many months this one's been going. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so let me get to my notes, because I did write notes as to conversations. I thought I'd leave my DNA on the right. Yeah. So one of the subjects I wanted to have a conversation about. What the heck is going on? Oh, well, that's why. Okay. Well, that just needs to stop. So regarding ETs, there's a public misconception about ETs. And it's very, as somebody who is an abductee since age 4 years old, more than 50 years, I'm 56 years old, people. So it's a long time to be having ET experiences. Very long time. And so what I've really been witnessing over 6 years. It's okay, of course. Yes, I'm glad you did that. There are so many misconceptions, and they are being presented by people that are supposed to be in the know, people that are doing giving talks at paracons, or people that are contact in the desert, or I mean, just lots of, and it's very frustrating to somebody like me. And I'm not against contact in the desert by any stretch of the imagination, not by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's great. But I get very frustrated when I see video of a speaker from whatever location, from whatever paracon, doesn't matter what it is or whose paracon it is. As somebody who has witnessed as much as I have, to hear other people in the community, and everybody has a right to their opinion. Please don't get me wrong on that. Everyone has a right to their opinion. But for somebody like me who has witnessed so much, to hear somebody else who is an ET abductee make a well-rounded, it's a well-rounded statement regarding ETs, specifically stating that all ETs hate, or that all ETs do one thing, or that they all do this subject, or it's just that they're going to abduct. And it's like, excuse me? Where the hell are you? I know it's a process. I know being an AT abductee, it's a hell of a mind process to deal with the psychological, the crap that you go through, the things that you think about, the things that you automatically discount. It is too easy to discount our experiences, and then we get bullied, teased, belittled, discounted, gaslit. by so many people in our lives. I get it. I understand that. But to lump it all into one fell swoop and to make a classification like that, that's not only is that not accurate, it does a disservice to all ET abductees. Doesn't matter if you're being abducted by a good race of ET who only wants love and light, because there are ETs out there who, for the most part, want love and light. Sorry, I thought I just saw somebody walk outside, sort of from my window. Anyway, but there are ETs who are doing things for nefarious purposes. And there are ETs who have soul contracts. And there are ETs who, for whatever reason, are working with the military branches in different governments. Well, some of that is for nefarious reasons. Very few of it is for good reasons. But, and you know, to be honest, to be fully, sorry, I've got a pen in my hand, so if you hear a click, that's what the click is about. To be full disclosure on how I feel about the nefarious stuff, I get really pissed at it because they're abducting human children and forcing them into really detrimental situations. You'd be damn lucky if you come out of it with an intact brain instead of being subdivided into multiple alters. I don't know how I got to the point to where I don't have alters. I don't know. Because I sure as hell know that they tried. And I fought back as a child. Mentally, I fought. And I fought so hard. I wonder if that was because of the soul contract that I had with the other race of ET. Because they got to me 4 years to 5 years sooner than the ones that the ETs are working with the government. I now fully believe I was part of MiLabs. I had a hard time believing that. But after the memories I've been having, and the flashbacks I've been having, I'm pissed. I'm not a happy camper about it by any stretch of the imagination. And the MFer who took a cattle prod to an 8-year-old child, me, oh yeah, that I'm going to need psychological counseling for, because I am so angry over that. That is actually where I want vengeance. And for me to actually make a public statement that I want vengeance, it tells you how pissed I am about it. This is a process. It's a process of experience. It is, you have to mentally process what happened to you. And if I hadn't gone through the counseling and the type of counseling that I have gone through when I was younger, I don't honestly know if I would have survived this and survived the memories. I thank God for the person that I had, or the individuals that I had counseling. I thank God for them every day, because They got me through. They got me through a different section of my life. And I am here to tell you, if you are an ET abductee, and this is one of the reasons why I am talking. I am talking not only for me and my process, but I'm talking for the ET abductees out there who cannot even come to the, not the realization, but the acceptance that they are an ET abductee because they are discounting everything that they have ever experienced. When you finally get through to that breakthrough point, there are many of us who are publicly talking now. Find a group to get into. Because that will help you start making realizations that these things really did take place. Now, I'm not saying everybody is an ET abductee. I think that's bullshit. If somebody ever says you, oh, well, we're all ET abductees, bullshit. My personal opinion, bullshit. That's sorry. So one of the big reasons that I talk is not only for myself and how I am going through this and the processes that I'm going through. I'm talking for those that cannot. Okay, Parrot, I'll get to it in just a minute. I'm here for those who can't, who haven't made the realization yet. And I want them to know you are not alone. This is a process. If you've got other garbage and crap in your life, get your ass into counseling. Deal with those other things first before you really start getting into this, because this is a deep dive that you may not, some part of you may not ever want to remember. I have sections of my brain that are so locked down because of what the ETs have done, different races have done to me. Excuse me, that I now can tell when I start publicly talking about certain things, I can now tell exactly how they have locked it down. Now I have not and cannot yet figure out how to unlock that section of memory. So I get triggered, and then I have a meltdown. And then I process, because of the kind of counseling I go, and just how my brain is, I process very, very quickly, usually in less than a week, much less than a week. So get your butt in to counseling, regular counseling for whatever's going on in your life besides this, because to find a counselor who actually deals in this subject is extremely rare. And typically, they can't themselves even talk about because they can't. Their license will be taken away. Hello, government. So it's a big deal. That's why there was a professional psychiatrist I knew who, after she retired, immediately went into the field. She's no longer in the field anymore. She's no longer counseling. As far as I know, she's still alive, but she's of an age to where she's like, I can't do this anymore. And because she retired, officially retired, they can't come after her. Well, legally, the government can come after a licensed therapist. I found that out from other people who do know. So, yeah, this is a big deal. I do, hang on a second, guys. I gotta figure out which way we're gonna go. I do feel that there needs to be some kind of retribution financially and to get, sorry, I have a lot of sciatica pain right now. There we go. So, that said, get into counseling, deal with your daily stuff or whatever it's gone through in your life before you start. I mean, this is just my personal opinion. You don't have to do it this way, but and everybody's different. But consider it because you got to learn the steps and the techniques in order to get through what you're about to deal with. If you choose to open these doors, that's a huge deal. Okay, that said, moving on. Paris says, I just heard you mention alters. I've heard another experiencer use the term too. Sounded to me like multiple personalities. Is that about right or no? Alters are very different than multiple personalities, in my opinion, and I'm not a pro by any stretch of the imagination. Alters is where the brain has been broken deliberately, typically by ET military. In other words, ETs that are with human military for nefarious purposes. You can, some people will typically classify alters as other personalities or multiple personalities. I don't. I don't because multiple personalities, in my opinion, is a completely different issue. It's something that where something has happened to us and it's how our brain operates in order for survival. Or there's some kind of chemical not dependence, some kind of how is this? Chemical deficiency in the brain. I don't know how else to say it, Perry. Look into the DSM. I don't know what the current one is. I don't know if it's 5 or if it's 6, but look into what the DSM books, the most current one. Thank you, Parrot. DSM 5. Good night, Tim. I hope you feel better. Love to you too, dear friend. Take very good care of yourself, especially after that injury. Oh my gosh. So, that all said, check out the DSM book. And as a layperson, I'm not talking professional, just as a layperson. And the difference is that what the military combined ET group does is they break the brain down into multiple personalities. Yes, maybe 1, maybe up to 6, maybe even 10. And they're using those alters for some really bad things. There's a book written by Miesha Johnston. I highly recommend it. Unfortunately, I do not remember the name of it right now. Good night. Are you leaving too, Laura? Um, so, thank you for coming. If you are leaving, I thank you very much for coming. Um, it's appreciated that you came and are here. Like, subscribe, and share. It takes me a while to get that in. Anyway, um, and that they can literally trigger and alter in very specific ways. And that person will have weeks of missing time or even months of missing time because the military ETs combo, saying this is a combo, have used that for very, very specific purposes, and it's very dangerous. And the person consciously will not remember. Um, they end up waking up out of it for whatever reason. Something pulls them out of it, and they could be standing there going, "Where the hell am I? And how did I get here? And oh my God, how am I dressed? Oh my God, what has happened to me? Can't sleep. There's a high vibration this morning. Yeah, there is. They've got a lot of protections up, but I don't know. It could be coming from the board. It could also be coming from a generalized area. Um, so, okay, let's get this stuff on. Sorry, guys. Um, it's ahead of time. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, that's better. Run. Anyhow, um, so I hope that answers your question, Kara. Okay, so he says, okay, so alters were intentional. Multiple personalities more likely developed that way for whatever reason. Not yes, correct. It's out of self-protection. Usually, multiple personalities are out of self-protection. Alters are created. Um, Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, you're very welcome, dear. Um, and when somebody says alters, you're usually talking super soldiers. Not always, but it can be super soldier or some form of militaristic style or type activity. They're using you for nefarious purposes. But I kid you not, look into Miesha Johnston's books. You will find some very, very fascinating information. I've skimmed, I haven't fully read, but I have skimmed. Well worth the read. Para, yes, this guy was SSP. Arkham, R.A. Arkham, I know what Arkham, but what's R.A.? Arkham. I don't know what that is. Unless you're I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm gonna readjust. This is how much. Oh, I'm gonna have to take a. Ooh, what did I do? I'm gonna have to take one of these. Our Arcane Rock. Oh, okay, thank you. Who's the guy? SSP system. Yes, okay. Okay, I've got my body is just regular. So energy all week. Yeah, be careful with that, Laura. I've had that too. It ended up putting me. I had 9 weeks of it. It ended up putting me in the ER for God about 6 to 8 hours, something like that. They couldn't figure out. Well, it was because I was on a completely, I unexpectedly elevated my system, my I can't think of what it's called. um, I elevated my higher consciousness in a very specific way, and my physical body could not handle it. And I basically stayed on, turned on for 9 weeks, and it nearly did me in physically. Um, I had problems sleeping. There were a lot of issues. So yeah, just make sure you get your electrolytes in. This is not medical. This is just my experiences. I ended up having to be very sure that I got in my electrolytes. This is vitamin water. I've got another one here that's, you know, right now it's got iced tea in it, but this one's mango. Um, I have Propel. I don't drink Gatorade. Um, I don't drink regular Gatorade. It's got too much stuff in it. This one's okay. These two are okay. So um, make sure you look into things, because if it is higher consciousness stuff, it can really screw with your electrolytes. It can really screw. At least that's my experience, and I have a couple of other friends. So just make sure you take real care of yourself. So we talked about the misconceptions, and then there are, and that's both the public's misconception, but it's also ufology's misconceptions. So I wanted to make that completely clear as well. And then there are abductee misconceptions. There are people who are still learning and still processing. I mean, I'm still processing. I mean, there are memories that I've got that I can feel in me. I can feel it when I watch different movies, and I'm like, oh, shit, I know that's accurate, this is accurate, and that's accurate. The rest of it is shit. And then I'll see another movie, and I'm like, oh my God, where did they get the image of this ET? I've seen an ET look exactly like that, or I've seen an ET that looks really similar to that. Very thick. Yeah, yeah, I've had that feeling too, Laura. Um, so just make sure you take really, really good care of yourself. Try to sleep. I had even tried knocking myself out, and that was really difficult um, because I was in such a high consciousness state. Um, and I basically got told that I got told by a number of psychics if I didn't come down, I could end up unexpectedly killing myself. And that um, would have been completely unintentional. It was like I was learning, and now I can be in that physical, that higher consciousness state, and for weeks at a time, it did not affect me at all because I've learned how to adjust and how to deal with it, and it's not going to affect me. Sorry, keep playing with this. It's kind of like a habit at this second. It's just so anyway. And basically, I kept getting told that I was dehydrated. And so when I was in the ER, they did more than one IV bag of fluids on me because I was so dehydrated. And that's exactly what I learned. And it took numerous psychics who are friends for them to work together to get me and my physical body to get that higher consciousness down to a normal level. And the second it came down, my eyes every mucus orifice started draining. It was the wildest freaking thing. My eyes would not stop running. It was like I was crying, but I wasn't. The pressure on my eyeballs I had no idea it was that intense. I was in the process of getting a horrible headache. I had been drinking water. I had been doing electrolytes, but it was not enough. And I was eating right. I wasn't being triggered at the time. It was because I had done an emergency service for somebody, and I had to be in that very high consciousness state in order to deal with all of this. And it actually became quite life threatening to me. And so when all of these psychics came together, because I was in such a state, I was like, how do you how do you teach somebody how to come down? It took all of them and all of their energies combined to get my level to come down. And it was really serious. So that said, take very good care of yourself. Definitely deal with your medical team and get checked out if that is what has happened to you as a psychic medium or as an energy worker. Because I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. Even though it was a learning phase for me, a learning stage, and I now know how to deal with that. I honestly don't ever want anybody to experience that, because if you're an energy worker, a positive energy worker, and you're on this planet and you are helping others, you are meant to be here helping others. There's a reason that you're here, and it's meant that you're supposed to stay here. And it's one of the other things is that if you're doing that kind of work, you want to keep everything about you as stable as possible. And one of the hard things for me as an ET abductee, such as with this memory of me being a 8-year-old child, that section is not stable for me because I get very angry. And that anger is not okay. And so that is something that I am still working with and working through and working on a regular basis. I've processed different aspects of it, but when I start to think as an adult, then I'll start to go through the pain again. Hang on a second, guys. Constantly having to move, and it's just I need to bring my computer chair out here. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. So this is kind of how it's going to be for it. So it becomes a very difficult thing, and you've got to take very, very good care of yourself. Your water, the right kind of foods, the right kind of things for your brain, grounding and centering, getting in meditation. If you can't do meditation every single day, even if you're standing at a sink, everybody's got dishes. So if you're standing at a sink, just for whatever reason, put your hands in, if it's hot out, preferably cold water, on your wrist, because your blood vessels go through the wrists, and you want it on the inside of your elbows. Excuse me, just stand there a minute and at your sink and run some cool or cold water, or warm if it's during the winter, and take in a really deep breath of air. Make sure that when you're deep breathing, that you're going to the bottom of your diaphragm, bottom of your lungs. I used to be a flute player, horrible flute player, but I was a flute player in junior high and high school. Make no bones about it. If I had had a partner to practice with me, I would have been a much better flute player. I hated practicing. I loved playing, and I loved being in a band, and I loved being in marching band in high school. And I make no bones about it. But because of that experience, it taught me to deep breathe and breathe from the lowest part of the diaphragm of the lungs. And if you're an energy worker, Man, I highly recommend that. Do that kind of deep breathing on a regular basis. And that's why I say if you're standing at the sink and you don't have time to meditate, run your hands into that water. Water is a elemental. Sorry, I'm the word. That kind of water, it's an elemental, and it's an energy source. Even with all the crap that they put in the water, it's city water. It's still an, yeah, I understand. Um, so it's an elemental, and if you can't get outside and get your feet grounded on dirt or cement, and for me that's a very dangerous thing because I have medical issues with soil. So it's like, well, crap, what do I do? So I finally figured out how I can deal with it for mine. But I highly recommend doing the deepest breathing and take a deep breath, close the mouth, take a deep breath in through the nose. If you're capable of doing that, deviated septums may have a bit more of an issue. Folks with deviated septums, that kind of thing. But if you can, take a very deep breath um, and start to look at the top of the lungs and all the way down to the bottom of the lungs until you get to a point where you can take the deepest lung breath that you can. Exhale through the mouth. In through the nose, exhale through the mouth. In through the nose, exhale through the mouth. So even for just standing there at the sink for just a moment, or if you're doing, everybody's got laundry to do at some point in some fashion. So just that fraction of a moment can give you an opportunity to help your body. It also helps the brain. There are studies done on that, and it's all scientific. You can look at it. There are things that help stimulate and create more brain cells in the brain. There are things that can activate the brain. And there are ways to go about that as well. Foot soak is another really good one. Okay. We just hit 2 a.m. and of course I start yawning. And we're an hour and 47 minutes into this, so that actually makes sense for me. So there are things that can be done for mini meditation purposes or for little things to train your body to get to a level to where you can do maybe a meditation once a week. Get into a regular routine of doing that once a week, and then work it from there to make it more often. Maybe shorter time, but you can get yourself trained. And once you start training yourself, there are things that you can do for yourself energetic wise, and especially if you're being an energetic or an energy worker for other people. And the other thing is protect yourself. If you are being an energetic worker or an energy worker for somebody else, you need to be protecting yourself. That's mandatory, because what happens is you can unexpectedly take on somebody else's energy simply from trying to help them. That can be very detrimental. So put up barriers. If you know how to put up barriers, do it. If you don't, come talk to me, or come. There's a number of other people that I could recommend. If you're not comfortable in talking with me, that's fine. There are a number of people that I could easily recommend you go and talk with, and they can help train you. You know, but meditation helps to calm the mind. It helps to deactivate the clutter in the mind. Oh, you're so welcome, Luna. She says it's 5:05 here, so yeah, you're 3 hours ahead of me. I'm assuming that's fine aim. So, sorry. Yeah, just make sure you take care of yourself. And this is why you will be seeing me typically drinking some kind of electrolyte or maybe seltzer water that's got an electrolyte in it. And then there'll be times where you'll be seeing me drink iced tea because I try to stay away from the Coke, although because of the stress in my life, Coca-Cola, because of the stress in my, and apparently this is going to be true. Stress in my life and the move, I started drinking Coca-Cola, and then I started getting sick. Coca-Cola is my go-to from when I was a child. That's how I cope and deal, and so I'm weaning myself off of that, getting back into just drinking my iced tea that I sweeten with. Um, uh, I'll read that in a second. That was awesome. Thank you, Simon. Now it's running through my head. Anyway, so get myself off of the sugar from the Coca-Cola and drink my iced tea that is sweetened with, I was going to say NutraSweet. No, it's by God not. Stevia. So, but it's a specific kind of stevia. It's not 100% pure stevia, but it doesn't have a bunch of other junk. So let's just put it that way. So that way I'm off regular sugar and I'm not doing aspartame or something, in my opinion, horrific and toxic, such as that. I'm not enthusiastic about the Coca-Cola, but it happens to be one of the very few things that help me. And I do drink plain water as well. So I get you got to have your liquids in every single day. You've got to. It's part and parcel to our human bodies. Simon Shields up. Exactly, Simon. Credit to Nathan from the Quantum Show for that one. Yes, I like his show. I haven't seen it in quite some time, but I do like his show. He's got a good show. Simon, Nikki, I found just drinking SodaStream tap cold filtered water was easy and rewarding. You get over the sugar news pretty quick. Yeah, it takes a while. If a body is addicted to sugar, or allergic to sugar, depending on your viewpoint. There are many different physical reactions that person has, and so coming off of sugar is a really big thing for the body. So unfortunately, right now I'm on my first round of antibiotics that I've been on in over 7 years because I got horribly sick from the move. And yeah, that wasn't so good. I got face full of dust and dirt and things, and repeated rounds of it, and I couldn't. I for a month and a half, 2 months, I worked really diligently with all my alternatives, and it was working, but I couldn't maintain it. Unfortunately, I couldn't continue the 4 days a week, or 4 times a day, excuse me, in order to maintain that level, in order to get rid of everything out of the body from the sinuses. So I ended up with nasty sinus, ear, and lung infection because of it. And so the antibiotics kicked my ass because I'm one to where I hate, and I vehemently hate antibiotics, but they have their place in humans periodically, don't believe in using them for every single solitary thing, because then you build up not an immunity but a resistance for it, and that's not okay. So I do have a substrate. My son gave it to me. I miss it. I haven't pulled it out of. It's still packed. Robert, yeah, don't let it take losing a body part to wake you up. That sugar is bad. Oh, sweetie, yeah, yeah. Robert knows about that one. Um, Simon, lots of peeps here in Australia dying from pneumonia. Be careful, Nikki. Don't ignore it. Yeah, I'm not ignoring it. This stuff is down at the far resources of my lungs, and the doctor was like, "Well, I can't." I'm like, "You're not hearing a rattle, are you?" And he said, "No." I said, "That's because I haven't allowed you to hear the deepest part of my lungs. I used to be a flute player, and if I go to the deepest part where it's setting, I will start coughing, and I'll be spewing everything in here." And I said, "I don't want to contaminate this room." And he goes, "You are really worried about that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I very much am. I don't want anybody to get this. I don't want it." And I said, for me to come in to see a doctor, to even ask for antibiotics is a big freaking deal. I didn't even add the great big C word with that issue that everybody had when everything was shut down. And when I got it, we didn't use. Thankfully I didn't end up with that kind of horrific infection, but it was in my lungs, and I am telling you, I used all my alternative stuff, and it did better for me. My mom ended up in the hospital because of it, and the whole family was told, "Well, we don't expect her to make it," and she's a fighter. She fought through 2 rounds of that shit, and so have I, and so is a member of my family members. So. And they've thankfully all survived. So, and we know so many people that have died because of it. So, yeah, you got to, when it comes to your health, you've got to take really good care of yourself. And the other thing is I wanted to be sure that I could be back on here, and I could be with everybody again. I haven't been able to do that in 7 months because the government asshats targeted me so badly, and it didn't just affect me, it affected other family members, and that I want revenge for. I want vengeance, and that's not normally me, and I fight that on a regular basis because it's not okay to want vengeance. It's not. um, Although I do have to say that the perpetrator that abused me when I was a child, human, um, died, and a week ago he showed his ass up in spirit form right to me, and I started screaming, "The MFer is dead!" Oh my god, he was pissed. And then I started asking the other side. I'm like, this soul has done this to not just me, but to numerous children. Why is he allowed to roam free? And I literally asked Source, lock him up in your um, hospitalized prison and change his soul to where he is reformed. His soul is back. It should be going back to what it's supposed to be, which is a normal soul, not this perverted, sick piece of. And they heard me, and he was escorted by no less than 3 angels out of my home. And I was like, why wasn't this taken care of when that MFer died? Why? So there are things that do happen on the other side that can make things kind of questionable sometimes. And basically, what I got told was he got overlooked. Kind of lost my shit on that. Kind of lost my shit. But I've had people have horrible reactions to me when I made that statement to them about me saying, woohoo, the MFer's dead. Excuse me, the asshole was a pedophile. So, um, you know, I had every right to feel how I was feeling. I still do. Okay, so we have things in here. You're a work, Simon, you're a work in progress at Robert. Hope you're okay now. Bomber, Nikki, your audio is wonky every few minutes. It sounds like you're underwater. Then I'll hear a few moments, then it goes wonky again. Not sure if that's your mic or the stream or my phone. It could be my stream. It could be my connection. I thank you, Bomber. I'm really glad to know that. Thank you. Simon, same at Bomber. Okay, anyone else? Bomber, anyone else hearing audio issues? Oh shit, that's not good. I hear that too, says Para. Well, damn. Okay. Robert, still getting skin repairing on the remaining ankle, but otherwise good going. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Robert. Simon, hang in there, man. It ain't over till it's over. Wishing you all the best. He's referring to Robert. Bomber. Hard to keep up with what is being talked about. I've tried, though. Laugh out loud. Been listening the whole stream, but I can't make out what's being said. Oh, sweetie, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Okay. Well, let me know if this helps because that means that I'm closer to the microphone. Para, I hear that too at Bomber. Para, I think it's when you speak quietly. Yeah, that makes sense. I got people asleep. I got a few people here tonight, and um, I don't want to get too loud. And I've got a lot of fans. I've got 3 fans in this room right here going right now. So that may have something to do with it too. There's only one that is actually aimed at me, but it's pretty low. Um, it's not a high pitch or it's not a high speed. It's trying to find the right word. So Para and Bomber, let me know if you can hear me better right now, please. That would be good. We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes. 2 hours and 20 minutes. God, I heard that wrong. That's a dyslexic thing. 2 hours and 2 seconds. It's still doing it. Then if it's still doing it, that's got to be the stream. That's got to be the link. Simon, seems like bandwidth issue, but please continue. Yeah, I'm going to. I've got about 30 minutes left, 27 minutes or so left. So, is there another subject you guys want me to talk about? There is a subject that I do have, but I want to see what else you guys may have or questions. Like Amy, if you're still in the chat, do you have more questions for me? Excuse me. I know that on the S4 bunker, I know what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night. And it's a pretty big subject. I had confirmation from ETs yet again, who were very, very insistent about a subject that is extremely concerning to Earth. and has to do with solar. Oh God, I can't think of the name of it. Solar bursts. Can't think of what that's called. That brain card going on. That fun. So let me see. I gotta hydrate a bit. Bomber. I'm going to listen while I fall asleep. So if I stop talking, big love to you, Nikki, and in chat. But I'll be here till I fall asleep. Smiley face. Thank you, dear. I appreciate that immensely. Okay. So, that's, yeah, okay. Okay, so, let's see. Hang on, I'm trying to find where my notes are. Geomagnetic storm. That's what I was looking for. Solar superstorm. So that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow on the S4 Bunker on Spreaker.com. Simon, what do you know of for chakras, Nikki? Our Keith mentioned it today. What do you want to know, Simon, about chakras? I knew that the generalized foot lights. Okay. I know that the when for years I believed, and this is a public misconception. Hang on a minute. I'm gonna move this again because it's kicking. Which is kicking us out. Okay, hang on. I gotta put the let's see if we're gonna be able to. Woo! Ouchie. Yes. Okay. And bring this closer so that you can actually hear me. And me just a little bit. There we go. All right. So, chakras. The generalized public believes that there's only 7 chakras. There's not. You have chakras in the palms of your hands. You have chakras in your arms. You have chakras in each section of your leg. You have a chakra point that I'm aware of behind your knee. There are chakra points on the tops of your feet and on the soles of your feet. You've also got chakra points up in here and at your shoulders. Of course, you've got the chakras going from the core, sacral, all the way to the top of the head and above the head, which is the crown. Now, there are also chakras going straight up, right from, how am I going to do? Right from the center, going straight up. And there are not just hundreds of chakra points. There's more than that. And who taught me that one was our Keith Andrews. And it was a hell of a shock. And when I found that out, because I thought there were 45 chakras coming off the top of the head. Oh, no. because of what our Keith Andrews told me in 2019, I met him face-to-face. I started doing my own set of research, so shall we say, with the okay, good to know. Thank you, Bomber. Let's see. I wonder too if it's my. I can't see that. So, in my research, what I have learned regarding the chakra system and what I have learned from other people who were unexpected guinea pigs. They were willing. Don't get me wrong. They were very much willing and able, and they had their own issues. And I've had people where I've cleared their entire chakra system. And actually, I found trees in chakra systems that are way up high. I've found black tarry goo. I know you said you want to learn about the foot ones. That's one of the reasons why I recommend doing foot soaks. And I mean, you can do foot soak with using almost anything. Usually Epsom salt, which is magnesium, is typical. And that's usually, that is usually what is discussed by the other side if you can't get to the ocean. Because if you put your feet in the sand, in ocean water, specifically, it's a specific kind of ocean water is salt water. It's a specific, and I will keep wanting to say selenium, and I don't know why. Somebody look that up. Why do I keep wanting to say selenium and ocean water? Is selenium in ocean water? I don't have a clue. I know sodium is. And one of the things, saline, yeah, I wanted to say saline earlier. And selenium, yeah, selenium isn't, yeah, you're right, Simon. I'm not going to say that one out loud, though. Selenite is what you're thinking of, Bomber. She says you can't, it's a cleansing stone, you can't get it wet. That's selenite. And you're right, you can't get it wet, otherwise it literally dissolves. Yeah, I know you're tired if you're saying selenium, but you mean selenite. That was cute. I appreciated that. Thank you. Anyway, my point is that I kept wanting to say selenium, and I don't know why. But anyway, the other side made a point with me. If I can't get to ocean water, a specific kind of salt water that I needed to soak my feet in Epsom salt, and possibly even a little salt water. And because it literally, when you're dealing with the chakra system, it can literally reactivate things for you. And it can actually help clear your body out of negative energy and emotions. It does a lot for the body. It does a lot for the brain. So do your own research. I always say do your own research. Do your own looking of the information. It's very useful. Uh, and if you're somebody like me who cannot, it's not safe to put your feet skin on concrete. It's not safe to put your feet on soil. Sand is a different ballgame. Then I got told by the other side to immediately start doing Epsom salt foot soaks and or combination of Epsom salt and Epsom salt combined with salt water. Well, if you have high blood pressure, you got to be careful with that because the biggest organ on the body is the skin. So do your research, talk to your medical team. Yeah, Bomber's saying funny though, because as soon as you said that, I saw the stone in my mind and it's very cleansing. Good. Good, good, good. So, okay, I gotta see if I can. Here we go. Undo. Da, da, da. Here we go. Okay. I still want to look okay. Anyhow, so and Bomber Simon's asking. There we go. I may end up meeting you. Makeup check. Yeah. Sure. Anybody remember the Muppets? Are you a Gen Xer? I'm a Gen Xer, baby. Makeup powder puff. Anyway, that's a quote from the Muppets. But, yeah. But the chakra system, yeah, foot chakras are, oh my God, they're so important. Laura says, good night, all. I should take a nap. Much appreciated. Oh, you're welcome, my dear. I'm really glad you came and joined us. Thank you for, please remember, like, subscribe, and share. If you haven't already, thank you. I appreciate it. Bomber loved the Muppets, but can't remember much from my childhood. Oh, yeah, I remember you saying that before. Simon, gotcha. I had a feeling you were from Europe with the stone reference. Simon, see it, Laura. Bomber, Simon, where are you about? Simon, anyone remember Fraggle? Yep, I remember Fraggle Rock. And please forgive me, is it Joanne or Joan? Because I have heard it pronounced that way, either way. So please correct me on your name because I want to make sure that I get names correct. Joanne's from New York. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I welcome. Please like, subscribe, and share. Bomber, Laura, remember to pick up your guitar for 5 minutes minimum. Ooh, that's a great point. Joanne, thank you. Oh, my dear. Seriously, thank you. I very much appreciate that. Yeah, I've gotten people's names really wrong. And I'm one of those people that can hear, what's it called? Linguistics really well and can usually tell where they're from, whereas other people can't. So let's see. Simon, Brisbane, Australia. Yes, that's where it's from. Laura, Gen X. Yep. Para, they made some new Fraggle Rock episodes in the last few. Really? I think they were on HBO Max. Yeah, I don't know HBO Max. Simon, Nikki, you guys on smaller channels should collaborate, combine your power, and do a joint expert panel help stream. Yeah, actually, I've been on panels like that. I'm on a panel. It's a radio. Well, it was radio. It was terrestrial radio, and the last 2-3 years, it's been a podcast again. So it was both a podcast. It's kind of like Dave's show, but with a smaller audience. But it was terrestrial radio, based out of the Skagit Valley in Washington State, and it was the S4 bunker. I think it was the S4 paranormal bunker at the time. So you can look that up, but I don't know what radio. I don't remember what radio station, AM or FM. I don't remember. So we see Joanne and SOR chat sometimes. So oh, good to know. Well, and I've been away off and on. I've been in SOR off and on for the last 7 months, but I am one to where I used to be. I started watching watching and listening to Dave's show and being in chat since June 2018. Long time for me. So I'm a 6-year. I love his show. Just I promote it whenever I can. Robert, only about 1,000 k south, 1,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers south from me, Simon. Okay, so I wonder if it was. Are you the same Simon who used to be Dogface before? Simon, I only mentioned it because our Keith needs traffic too. Yeah. Well, our Keith used to be on the S4 bunker with us, but he hasn't for a year and a half, thereabouts, something like that. Oh, that would be cool to have Nikki and our Keith in the same show. Yeah, we've been in the same show before. Our Keith Anders and I have been. We've done the same show a number of times before. So that's, I couldn't tell you what year, 2019, 2020, 21, something like that. So that goes back a ways. Bomber. Okay, Bomber says, Robert, is that where I've seen you before, our Keith's? Bomber. Robert has known, I'm going to out you here. Robert has known Dave longer than I have. That's where I met him. That's where I met Robert, in Dave's chat. Back in the day before Dave had YouTube, he was on Spreaker.com. So yeah, he's a long hauler for Dave Scott's show and the weekend shows. Please get around. Yeah. Dogface was from Victoria. I thought Dogface was from Scotland. No, I'm sure he was from Scotland. Am I thinking of a different Dogface? He's not allowed in my chat. Oh, how interesting. Yeah, I think we're talking about two different Dogface. Two different folks. If you go back near the start, I had made a homemade cheesecake and posted it on Dave's show in Facebook. He was then asking who did that because it was his favorite cheesecake. I forgot about God. You did that what, years ago? Or was that 7 years ago? That was a while ago because I do remember that. So yeah, I remember it. It had to have been within the last 6 years. Yeah, about that. So, all right. So, yeah, that's what I said, Joanne. She says, yum. Simon says, Nikki, what do you wish for all of us here right now? Peace, love, and all your memories. There's so much going on in this world, and there's so much going on with people in their personal lives. I must try to figure out how to say that. And I honestly wish people peace, healing, peace and healing, love, kindness, respect. I just got told congratulations, and I don't know why. I find that interesting. I am at 2 hours and 26 minutes, so I've got about 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes left, and then I'm going to say goodnight. So I wanted to give you a heads up for that morning, because I really need to stay consistent with the amount of time that I do. Uh, so yeah, there's just so much. I was going to say dissatisfaction. That's not what I mean. There's so much anger and hatred in the world that I honestly wish people peace and happiness, peace, love, hope, happiness, the whole kit and caboodle, that we just all learn to respect each other, learn to calm down, learn to not overreact to everything. So many people are triggered over innocuous things, and we need to let a lot of bullshit go. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen in people's lives that we need to learn to. As a girlfriend of mine famously said, "Now it's like water off a duck's back." And she's right. Just let it slide right off your back, right? She's so right, and it's hard to do because the more we overthink, the more we let go of control and what we think control is. There are things that, yeah, we do need to control, and then there are things that we don't. Yes, compassion will bring all that. Yes, that's actually the word I was looking for. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you very much. We need to come together as a united front. And in order to do that, we got to let a lot of things go. And that's really hard to do. And I know many people, it's like I'm preaching to the choir because that's what they do now. And it's taken a long time for them to get there. There's a lot of things I let go on a daily basis. Then there are things that I don't let go because they are actually what matters. There's a lot of things that it's like people are just going to be bitchy people. They don't know how to do things. And A lot of times you just have to let stuff go. There's a lot of hurt in this world. The hurt and anger. Do you want to stay hurt and angry all your life? You know, serious question. Do you want to stay hurt and angry all your life? If that answer is no, then start figuring out how you can make changes in your life. If you overreact on a consistent basis, whether that's daily, whether that's 3 or 4 times a week, get your ass into counseling. Figure out what it is in your brain and your emotions that is triggering you so bad. It needs to be worked on. Find out what ways that you need to work on yourself. You know? And when we each do that, and we can each come together, we can be a more powerful union. And I mean as in humanity. I'm not talking about government, as in where we live, what location, whether we're in the United States or Britain or Australia or New Zealand, Canada, or South America, or a country in Africa. Doesn't matter where you live. Focus on those things that can help you heal, because the more you heal, the better off you'll be. The more you heal psychologically, the more you heal your heart from all the hurt or whatever it is that you've gone through in your life, the better off you will be and the better human being you will be. And it will make a significant difference in a person's life when they do that. It's also when you go through that healing, depending upon, I mean, that's what I say. I'm angry. Am I going to take it out on people? No, because it doesn't get anywhere. What the hell is the point of that? It doesn't get anywhere. Are the things that have happened in my life out of my control regarding the ETs, regarding the ETs that work with specifically with the U.S. government or with any government in this world? Those are out of my control. I can be as angry as I want to be or allow myself to be. It boils down to, how do I process it? Well, that goes back to the counseling that I dealt with to begin with. That goes back to the counseling techniques I learned. I'm processing that anger. Am I as angry as I was when they brought me back and made me extremely aware? And I was telling the ETs that I had 3 of what I took my head for. I had one in front of me. I had one I had fingerprint marks on each arm. On this morbidly obese body, I had fingerprint marks on each arm because that's how tight the ETs were holding on to me and bringing me back, because I was conscious by the time they had knocked me out. And the second I woke up, I was coming back through the effing wall and window. And I was screaming verbally my head off. And at the time, people were not home because it was daytime. So nobody heard me in the building complex that I lived in at that time. The point is that I was telling them if I ever got a knife or a hatchet, I was going to cut them to frickin' ribbons, because what they made me do, and I was livid. And to this day, I still remember that. Am I mad at them? Yeah. Am I enraged at them over that one specific incident? No, because I've worked through that section of anger. Am I still angry? Yes. Do I still need to work on that? Yes. Is it out of my control? Yes. But my feeling is within my control. That is what I can control. Do I have every right to be angry at them? Oh, you better damn straight I do. Damn good reason. Because I've been made to do certain things for them, against my soul, against my will. Because they control my brain. Am I pissed off about that? Oh, you better freaking believe it, I am. It's not okay. But am I as enraged as I was about that back then when it happened? No. Am I enraged about, the memory of being an 8-year-old child and recognizing that I had a military government asshat get me in the back with a goddamn cattle prod and electrocute me? Oh, you better believe I have. So I've processed, my point is I've processed one incident. Have I processed it fully? No. And that's why I call this ET Abductions are a process in recovery on the mental brain and on the physical body. It is a process. And for some people, it can be a lifelong process. So now I haven't read chat in a bit. And yeah, Robert is saying, so let go. Yeah, you have to let a lot of things go, but it is a process to get there, to let go. Okay, so I'm going to read chat, and we've had a lot of people coming and going. We haven't gone down below 8. We had 16 in here at one time. Let's see. Can you go back and start me? Bummer, compassion will bring all of that. The more we let the small things agitate us, so we let it go. Yes, bummer. Everyone is going through so much. So when someone is triggered, often it has nothing to do with what triggers us in the moment. Yeah, you're exactly right. But something that has been nagging on behind the scenes for a while. Yep. Patience and compassion. She's right. Sorry, I'm speaking of triggers. I'm having a pretty major trigger right now. My sciatica is just really kicking. And I am 2 hours 37 minutes, so I'm 7 minutes beyond. So hang on. I want to read this before I end here. I'm so angry about losing my dad and find myself losing. This is bomb. I'm so angry about losing my dad and finding myself losing my patience with people or situations very easily. Has nothing to do with any of it except my pain, and I know I need to heal this because I do not feel like a very nice person to be around these days. I can relate to that, dear, very well. I've lost so many people in my life, and there are certain ones that hit me harder than others. They all, excuse you, they all hit me. They all, it's Venus Spartans. They all hit me hard, but some are much harder than others because they're closer. And it's really difficult to go through the grieving process. That hurts, that hurts, that hurts, that hurts. Oh my God, that hurts. Woo, okay, that's good. She's right. It's hard. It's hard to process out death. Excuse me. Love you. Anyway, that's my kid. My adult kid. Uh-huh. He's being a smart ass right now. Simon at Bummer. I have two emotions, happy and angry. Yeah, I understand that, Bummer. I'm just short, not as warm, not as present, not as pleasant. Easily frustrated, not friendly like I used to. I can understand that. I've had family that has died that is it's just really difficult. Some are more difficult to process than others. And it may be that way for a while. You have to you gotta cut yourself some slack. It's hard to do. Death is not easy to process. We all go through it, and it seriously freaking sucks. To every length, every nth length there possibly is. Number one, I'm very sorry for your loss of your dad. My heartfelt, deepest condolences and compassion. I am so sorry. Very heartfelt. Um, Losing a parent is really rough. For some folks, it's very, very rough, especially if you've had a good relationship with them, or even if it was semi good. And then I know folks that were like, that have told me, my dad was a pedophile. I don't want anything to do with him. I could care less when he dies, So, you know, and then I've been told, well, my dad was an abuser. I don't want anything. I could care less. And I'm like, okay. And I've been told, well, my dad was there half the time and not there the other half the time. And I'm like, okay, and how do you feel? And they're like, I have good memories and I have bad memories. And I'm like, okay, do you treasure any? There's only one memory I treasure from my dad. Okay. And then they tell me about it. And it was from their childhood. And then they get told the rest of it was shit. I'm like, wow, okay. So everybody deals differently. And it's tough. It's tough to go through a grieving process. I am so sorry. Truly heartfelt. Para, I'm sorry for that loss. I'm hoping the pain fades and all we're left with is good memories and laughter. Great. Bummer. Anger stems from pain and fear. I'm not afraid of that much, but I sure am in pain. Yeah, yeah, because it's those of us that have good memories or bad memories. It's still a loss. It's a loss of a human being. It's hard to take. It's hard to Why did I immediately hear and think of I just got asked not to say his name. It's somebody I have talked with. He's on the other side. He's extremely famous. But I've just got asked not to say his name. Okay, I will not. I will respect that for privacy's sake. He's actually the second extremely famous person. Oh dear God, what did you? I don't even want. Um, he's actually the very first famous person who ever. Well, yes, the second. Dear Abby was the first. Only I didn't recognize that it was her until many years later. Um, so I guess technically he would be the second person. Third person was Marilyn Monroe. Um, But I have talked about him. I'm surprised he doesn't, but I get why. Apparently, he's listening in with what I'm saying, and he had extremely. Okay, I just got told to be quiet. How do I say what I want to say? He had a family member who died before him. So I can say that. I can't say anything else. So I'm just stunned that you're here. It's been a number of years. I guess that you come in. I just, sorry, folks. I was just blown away by the fact that he's here. Anyway, apparently what I'm talking about is important enough to bring you here. And about fathers. Nikki, Simon, Nikki, you do seem a lot calmer than the last time I was here. It's nice. Thank you, dear. Yeah, I had a lot to say last time, didn't I? A lot to say. Oh, Jim, hey. Oh, hi. I'm so glad you made it in here. Um, no, not Charleston. Charles. No, not him. Not Heston. Wow. No, not Charleston Heston. Um, we have Y YouTube chatters. What a greater gift, kitten. That we are here for each other in a small way. Simon at Joanna. No personal experience, but have others. Bomber, he was my best friend. He was larger than life and lets me know every day that he's here, but it's not the same thing at all. And that's on me to just, oh, honey. I went through that with my dad. My dad was with me from the moment he died. I can relate to that. And my dad and I didn't have the greatest, we had an okay relationship. Um, Now this is the sorry, button. Um, this is a man who, and I bring this up because I'm going to tell you about relationships. You can heal a broken relationship from while you're on this level of existence. You can heal a relationship where the other person is on the other side. I did that with my dad. Um, my dad was an alcoholic from before I was born. My dad tried to kill my mom, strangled her, tried to kill a dog in front of my mom and my grandmother, my dad's mother. Um, which is why my mom took me and left when I was 2 years old. And my dad in the 1990s he was still alive and he was going through AA at the time. He was in his 70s, 60s, he was in his 60s, excuse me. And he and his third wife were going through AA. They were going through the 12-step group and 12-step plan. And he was at the part where you make amends. And he asked for forgiveness because of how he was as a dad. I wasn't the one that had to live with him as a teenager. My step siblings were. I can't imagine what he went through. I don't know. I'm assuming he reached out to them to ask them for forgiveness. I don't know that, but based on the 12-step plan, I, it was a difficult thing for him to come to me and then try to come to my mom. My mom didn't want anything to do with him. I can't say as I blame her. That was her choice. And my point to this is that after my dad died, and we had a long conversation. My son was very little at the time. We had this long conversation, and we left on a really good rapport. And after my dad died a number of years later is when I lost it emotionally. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because you can make a healing with a parent who is on the other side if you had a good relationship. And it's really difficult. Hello from Chechnya? Wow, honey. Ivarka. Well, welcome to my chat. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. My name is Nikki Jacobs. I'm a psychic medium, also an ET abductee. And we talk about a lot of subjects in here. I deal with a lot of paranormal. And right now we're dealing with family who has died, who's crossed over, and a lot of subjects. I mean, we talk on every subject under the sun, and then some. And the subject was brought up about family deaths and dying. And we're talking right now about how to go through healing relationships even when a person is on the other side. Now, for me as a psychic medium, because after my dad died, which was very hard for me, he was with me every single day. After he was with his wife, he was with me. And being from California, well, he was from a different state altogether, but he married my mom in Washington and then married his third wife in Washington and moved to California and lived in Southern California, in fact. And in doing so, one of the things that he learned back in the 70s and 80s and 90s was that California, you've got to be very careful with water. And so after he died, one of the things he would tell me as I'm at the bathroom sink washing my hands from going to the bathroom, he would be standing to my right, leaning over and whispering in my ear, "Now remember, get your hands wet, shut the valve off, shut the faucet off, then get the soap, then wash your hands." And he basically retrained me and I mean, this was an everyday occurrence. Everyday occurrence. Drove me nuts. Still, if you started doing it again, I still think about it periodically because I start laughing about it now, but God, it drove me nuts. And he was constantly there. He made it impossible for me to brush my teeth or wash my hands without shut that faucet off, Nikki. And so I have those memories, and when you go through that, you treasure those because you know that it may be a very short amount of time before they are needing to go elsewhere for their own soul's sake, to replenish everything. Kara, I've got to drop. Have a great day, Nikki. Have a great day, folks. Nikki, great having you back on YouTube. Thank you, Paramar. I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you for coming. I very appreciate you. Thank you. Death is dreamless sleep. Yeah, some people see it that way. I don't agree, but that's because I'm a psychic medium and all my personal experiences. So it's a dreamless sleep for our physical body, yes, but not for our soul. But that's okay. It's okay. Everybody has their own different take on it, and mine just comes from experience, and that's why I'm talking about this now. So, bummer. I wish I could hear what you're. Oh no, sweetheart. Simon. This has been great, Nikki. Glad you're back. See you, beautiful peeps, in the next one. Thinking of you all. Don't ever feel alone. Robert. Hey, Simon, go. That's what that's about. Jim is saying, just woke up. Simon is saying, heck yeah, Robert. Cane Toads United will never be defeated. I have no idea what that is. I'm assuming it's a sports team. Bummer, yep. Instant healing when someone passes because they're not the same. They've let go of all the conditioning they've held here. Yes, I fully agree. That's awesome. P. Varco, hello from Chechnya. Bomber, toxic and limited beliefs, etc., all gone the moment we leave our bodies. Para, hope you're doing great today. This sleep. Para, gotta go. Robert, sleep well. Para. Bomber, I died in 2003, and I can promise you it isn't a dreamless sleep. Yeah, I know. It's the physical body, it's a different ballgame, but for the soul and the consciousness, it's a completely different ballgame. Robert, state of origin football like your Super Bowl. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's cool. That's really cool. Robert, third of 3 games, won all at the moment. So this is decided for the year. Wow. That's cool. That's really cool. Oh, Bomber, that was a great comment, honey. Oh, I like that. That was a great comment. Joanna, must sign off. Thank you. I will subscribe. I already hit like. Be well. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm 2 hours 57 minutes into this. I really need to go as well. But I'm very glad that we got a chance to all reconnect. And I honestly wish you peace. I wish you hope, respect for one another, love. I'm not going to say love and light, but I will say love. And I hope that you're able to process whatever it is that you need to process. I always remove really personal stuff like that, especially anytime I share about my experiences, just because, oh boy, do I totally understand that one. Big time. I thank you because it was a really good comment. Robert, yeah, you most certainly do need to sleep for the show tonight. Oh my God, yes, I've got the show. So, okay, so I'm going to do a brief promotion. So tonight, USA time, 10 p.m. Pacific to midnight Pacific time. I will be on a show, a weekly show called the S-4. Oops, the S4 bunker, and it's on Spreaker.com. That's where you can find it. And tonight we'll be talking. Okay, that's 10 to midnight Pacific time. And the subject matter at hand that we will be talking about is the psychic information that I received yet again from the ETs and from the other side, meaning the hierarchies, my spirit guides, ancient family. And then I had the information confirmed by 4 other psychics. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. And it's all about a solar superstorm that's on its way, or will be on its way, happening this year. I was just trying to figure out if I was going to actually say the timeline or not, but it will be taking place this year. So please give a listen to us live if you're able to. If not, I will make sure that after the show tomorrow night that I put it in the file folder that says shows Nikki has been on. And just scroll to the bottom and it will be there. Okay. It's a pretty important show this time, and there are approximately 5. Yeah, 4, 5. 5 of us that have confirmed the information. 5 psychics that have confirmed this information. That's pretty big. And it's we're talking a geomagnetic storm. This is not absolute. I'm making this clear. This is absolutely not about fear mongering. This is about being aware. And it's also about the information, and it's about where the information came from. And it's that important that all of these beings want this information out there. That said, I hope you come and listen to the show. A great deal will be talked about. There will be 3 psychics that will be discussing, and one science-oriented layperson who knows her stuff about science. She knows her shit. Let's put it that way. She even had an offer to go work in a major company. Chose not to do it because of the owner of that company. But my point is, I'm sitting here doing this thing with again. Give us a listen and pay attention, please, because it's all about how we proceed next. Okay? Preparation without fear. Okay, coming together. and being a community of coming together. That said, apparently I need to talk to this spirit, this male spirit, who was sitting, who is now standing. And I'm being told thank you for not saying his name, and you're welcome. So I've got to figure out why he's here. So we're at 3 hours and 4 minutes. Well, we're 4 minutes. I thank you for coming. I thank you for listening. If this is a replay for you, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're able to share, if not, please like and subscribe because it helps the algorithms for me. And wow. Geomagnetic storm. Geomagnetic storm. So please pay attention and give a listen to the show. On that, thank you very much for coming, for listening to all I've talked about, and I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day filled with some kind of peace and some kind of love. Thank you guys. Bye for now. I will be back next week at the same time. I needed to say that. I will be back next week. I am going to be doing this once a week again. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.